What's up, guys? It's your boys Wookie back at with another Chris Watts video, and obviously we're going to continue with Chris Watts videos because I'm a persistent person and I want to seek justice and bring light to obviously NK and her corruptiveness, and eventually we will get there because I just got word that Behind Criminal Minds, his video got reinstated. Behind what was that video called? It was something with deal with the devil that had to deal with the DA and his wife and so forth, that he got a channel strike. He fought hard, and man, oh man, his video is coming back online. So I don't know if you guys wanted to see my reaction. I saved it on my phone, so I still have my reaction. If you guys want me to re-upload that reaction, please let me know down in the comments. Hashtag re-upload reaction for Behind Criminal Minds. I can definitely do so. That video was amazing. So if you guys could go over to that man, to Behind Criminal Minds, give him some love, watch his re-uploaded video, because that video is probably one of the biggest reactions, emotional reactions that I ever did. And it was a bravo work that he did. I'm in the works of also talking with him to having a hopefully a video chat with him, if not voice chat. We're going to speak more about the case. Obviously, we're very persistent, and with them fighting, when I say them, DA Rourke and his wife, obviously with them doing what they did, it made us more determined to expose this case even more. They just pushed us even harder. So with that being said, before we go any further, if you guys could subscribe to the YouTube channel by hitting that wiper icon down the bottom right, hit the bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You guys will get that little ring notification that Wookie myself has posted that video. You guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for the love and support. Continuously, you guys are doing fantastic on the subscribes. We're trying to get to 50K so I can give one of you lucky people at home that Meta Quest 3 virtual reality headset for free. And all you gotta do is subscribe, comment, like, and share. Once we get to 75,000, I'll be doing another giveaway, and then 100,000 subscribers, I'll be doing another giveaway. So all you had to do is subscribe, comment, like, and share. With that being said, I will post the links in the description as well for Behind Criminal Minds to check out his channel. Also, check out the link in the description for the petition for Nicole to be hopefully one day investigated. It may work, it may not. We don't know, but we can't just sit by and do nothing. Pamela Thompson is one of a very detailed women that wrote this out, started this petition. So I want to give her credit where it is due. I can't remember how many signatures we are. How many signatures are we at? We are sitting at 2,100 or 2,133 signatures. If you guys could, it would be fantastic. You can do it for free. You can do it for a little bit of money, which boosts its popularity. So go ahead and do that as well. We're going to be also looking at the Studio 7 podcast. They definitely have started a movement when it comes to what happened at Survey 319. All the information that you need to know, pretty much the time frame of when he was there to when he left, 38 minutes. How the hell did he dig a hole for Shanann, murder his two little girls, stick them in oil tanks by cramming them in there, making phone calls, changing clothes, and more? We're going to take a look at this. It makes no sense you could do that in 38 minutes. So with that being said, grab a chair, get comfortable, because we're going to dive deep. But if you guys could, like I said before, go to Studio 7 podcast. They're sitting at 285 for subscribers. Give them some love. Let's get their channel monetized. We've done it before with 50 States of Madness. So get on over there, subscribe, comment, like, and share. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. I'm going to start off. First, we're going to look at some information about said Survey 319. And then we're going to go over and watch Chris Watts only had 38 interrupted minutes at Survey 319. We're going to watch the Studio 7 podcast and take a look at what they have shown for their results and their research. But looking at the timeline starts at 5:45. Chris leaves his house. 6:31, Chris texts Cody Roberts he's at survey 319. 6:41, Chris texts Chad McNeil. He's at survey 319. 6:53, Chris actually arrives at 319 per his GPS. So he lied those entire times. Employees arrive at survey 319 at 8:30. 8:51, Troy McCoy arrives at survey 19. So the drive from Chris Watts' house to survey 319 is actually 68 minutes. 97 minutes after Chris arrives at survey 319, employees, assuming Cody Roberts and Chad McNeil, which could have been wrong for those two people, 118 minutes after Chris arrives, Troy McCoy arrives at survey 319. According to these times, Chris had a minimum of 97 minutes to take his wife out to the truck, drag her to where he digs the shallow grave, buries her, goes to the truck, murders Cece, takes her upstairs, top of the oil tank, drops her in, goes back downstairs, gets Bella, murders Bella, takes her upstairs to the top of the battery, drops her in, goes back to his truck, pretends nothing is wrong when the workers arrived. But that 97 minutes also includes the 68 minutes to get out to that location. Which in my persistence-ness, taking a calculator, we take 97 minus 68, you get 29 minutes. That's even worse than the 38 minutes that we originally, I'm going to have to watch this video, but it makes no sense on how he did all this. Seems like not very much time to accomplish all those tasks by one single person. He must have been sweating bullets because of digging that hole, going up the stairs with the short time that he had before he got there. He texted other people to have conversations in that time, searched the web, made some phone calls, also changed his clothes. He had time to throw them in a dumpster, all in this amount of time. He did not act alone. He was with somebody else. There was discrepancies also up there that possibly employees had helped him, which I am calling complete cocky-puck. You get what I'm saying. I don't believe a word this man says. If we had the ability to investigate and interrogate Nicole Kessinger properly, I do believe we would get a lot more answers than what we have had in the interviews that she had, because all the stuff that she said was pretty much nothing. So with that being said, let's watch the Studio 70 podcast and take a look at what their findings had been found as well. So let's take a look.
Purpose only.
That's right.
Do your own research and please be kind to everyone.
Right. And if you would be so kind to like and subscribe and comment, especially if you enjoyed the episode, and we can put more on like this. And our website is Studio, the word 7, the letter O. So it's studio70.com. You can check us out there. We're all links to all kinds of fun stuff, including, as you can see, because we're a walking advertisement today. Sorry, we're so excited. We just got these new shirts in. So we overdid it a little bit, but we are so excited to bring you this episode. In fact, today we are, Shrock, dipping our toe into true crime. So this is how music is related to this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm break this up into two parts, because one part is going to be about the music aspect of it. But because this case is true and dear to my heart, because I have kids, you have kids, and I don't think the people involved here were completely all put. I don't think justice was done, basically. And we'll get into that more. Yeah. But so are you ready to
yes,
see what this is all about? Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Chris Watts case. And if it's okay if you don't know anything about this, because I'm going to read kind of like just a quick summary. But let me tell you,
Again, there are still people that don't know about this case. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they have not heard of this case, but there's people that have not heard of it. So I'm going to leave it here just for you to summarize for those that have not heard about this case yet or not.
if you don't know anything about the case or you're really into it and want to know a lot more, I'm going to give a shout out to Zuoki. It's a podcast I listen to, a YouTube show that I watch, and he is very genuine.
Awesome.
Very nice guy, and I just want to support him as well. I think he does a great job with this and many other things.
I think he's one of the very few that pronounce my name right, because everybody goes Sawaki or Zawalski, and it's like Zoo or Zuwoki. It doesn't have two O's, so Zuwoki.
He's got some goodies to give away once he hits certain thresholds of followers, so please go check him out. With that said, I want to go through a brief summary. So Chris and Shanann Watts met in 2010, and they were married in 2012. Though the couple had the usual struggles that most couples do, like, finance issues and extended family drama, they seem to have everything else, though. Big house, good jobs. They even had two beautiful daughters, Bella, age 4, and Celeste, which is her nickname was CC, age 3.
It looks so cute.
Another child on the way. Shanann was pregnant with, come to find out, a boy they were going to name him Nico. But over time, the couple have, the usual marital issues. Chris starting having an affair with a mistress that, somebody he worked with named Nicole Kessinger. Now, we will refer to her in this video, this podcast, as NK. Usually she's referred to Nikki. And the reason why we nicknames,
or as referred to as gross,
is because Shanann had a best friend named Nicole, and I just don't want to confuse things. So over time, things became very serious in the relationship between Chris and NK. And let me read to you from wikipedia.org the following. In the early hours of August 13, 2018 in Frederick, Colorado, American oil field operator Chris Watts murdered his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 children. He buried Shanann in a shallow grave near an oil storage facility and dumped his children's bodies into crude oil tanks.
Wow.
Watts initially maintained his innocence in his family's disappearance, but arrested on August 15th after confessing in an interview with detectives to murdering Shanann. He later admitted to murdering his children. On November 6, 2018, Watts pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree murder as part of a plea deal when the death penalty, which was later abolished in Colorado in 2020, was removed from sentencing. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 3 to be served consecutively.
Just saying.
So with that, that's a background of the case. And I want to talk to you about what we're going to specifically go through in this podcast. So there's going to be 2 main topics. One is there's some people that think, mostly women, but they think, Chris Watts is, I think he's innocent, or I think he's such a really nice guy, or he's misunderstood.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And I'm going to go through and show you how music and lyrics, this is the music part of our podcast, how this analysis really paints his true colors. So that's part of it. The second part is more from a personal perspective, and I want to talk about my analysis in the case, and you're going to don't want to miss this, because I haven't seen other podcasts do this, and I think you're going to pick up stuff that you haven't picked up yet. I'm hoping, this will refresh things a little bit. I'm going to do a minute-by-minute review of when Chris Watts left his home that morning after the murders, that moment of time till his coworkers arrived at Cervi 319. So he was going to 319 to dispose of his family, and he left his house, did that work, and then eventually some coworkers showed up. So I'm going to go minute by minute, and it will all but prove that Chris had some help, or at least had this thing so planned out, it's ridiculous. And I want to talk about summarized evidence pointing to NK's involvement. So before we really get started, Shrock, I want to remind everybody again, and you did such a great job, thank you in the beginning, that's just for entertainment and educational purposes only. I did research, limited to the sources available, online documentation, some things that happened through the interviews. Some of them were live. I was able to watch them.
There is literally detectives, retired detectives, that have reached out to me that have spent 17, 27, and 32 years on the force when it comes to being a detective. And they all have said the same thing. They're like, why was Nicole not involved? They're like, there's no way that she could have, or how do I want to say this? There is no way that, how do I want to say this right? They believe there is no way in God's green earth that Nicole Kessinger was not involved. Hopefully I said that right. They believe that she was involved. And everything that they've seen through my channel, all the other channels out there, they're like, there's no way. There's no way she got away with this. How in the God's green earth, with everything that we've seen, she walked free? The 36-year-old veteran detective literally told me, he says, everything you've stated makes complete sense, Awoki. Everything that all these other channels have been mentioning within reason, that are completely on the same page. And yet, because they got their main guy, they're done. That's what we were told from DA Rourke. They got their main guy, which somebody pointed out the other day, I think it was on the stream yesterday, that because it was around election time, they wanted to go as fast as possible to get this done. So it looked good on his part that he got it done so fast and out of the way. So he was, and what's sad is I heard just now too, is there's nobody running against him in for DA. What's scary is this could go on for another 4 years. It's his last term, but it could be another 4 years until we see something happen, which is very scary.
Or listen to them, the actual recordings. Some of them were documentations that were read out, and I did a lot of homework on that. But again, I can make mistakes. So please do your own research. And my expertise, no, I am not a forensic person or in the criminal justice or area of expertise. Two things. From the music part, I am a part-time musician since I was like 18 years old. I've been in bands, I've written songs, I've been in the studio, I know music. So that first part of the music aspect I bring to that. Professionally, I have associates, bachelor's and master's in information technology. And for those who know IT people, developers and things like that, like I am, you know that we are problem solvers. We're very analytical.
Yes.
We're very logical. And a lot of people don't know this, but a good person in IT, we can recognize patterns. That's one of the like almost prereqs to being a good IT developer. Not necessarily, but somebody who can recognize patterns. So no, I don't have all that, but I think that I have that analysis and logical aspect of things. So we're going to go right down the rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. And I created this little intro. Rock, that was just for you. Down the rabbit hole we go.
Never ending.
Woo. So just a little, I'm sorry, I did that purposely. I hope you like that, Shrek. I was trying to do something a little funny, a little rabbit. But just to let you guys know that all intros, outros, any music in between is stuff that I put together, wrote. So just FYI, just sharing that because there might be some people like, what is that music? Okay, Chris Watts, how he used song lyrics. We're going to look at the notes from NK, his post-murder internet searches, and some analysis and theories and things like that. And we'll conclude it up. So let's look at the lyrical analysis. His pre-murder love letter to Mistress NK. So let's look at the first one. Now, this one in my mind, I started with the weakest one. Because to me, this is not really lyrical, but a lot of people want to say, oh, he Takes My Breath Away from the band Berlin, which if you ever watched the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise back in the 80s, that song was really the hit song of that movie, or the focus. So could he have referenced this as a lyric? Yeah, it's possible. This is more of the weak one. But I will share with you guys a kind of funny tidbit here. I have a friend from, moving on, the next one. all night till the sun comes back. I want to love, want to love you like that. So this one is not Chris's original. It's Love You Like That by Kanan Smith. So,
Gross.
okay, that one's a little bit more straightforward. This next one
he says this all the time that he is married to Shanann.
Hit me up a little bit because originally I thought it was maybe something he wrote. It's a little more obscure.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't resist a feel. You put me on another level, you know, all that junk. So you see those quotes and people think, oh, he was just being really, you know, creative.
Romantic.
Yeah, romantic, all that stuff. Anyhow, no. It's done by a band or a group called Through the Roots, called Down to Earth. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. So you can see all the lyrics there in front of you, so they match up.
So he literally probably Googled,
you know, creative by Chris.
Like love quotes.
So what does this all mean?
Wow.
Well, it means Chris likes to express himself using song lyrics. He was an introvert. He wasn't really extrovert, so he probably was more comfortable expressing himself through lyrics and music and things and not really saying it verbally.
It looked like he just copy and paste.
He just copy and paste.
Pretty much.
He just probably did a better job.
Probably on his phone, writing it in his truck, talking to Shanann and Nicole at the same time. Jesus Christ.
Was a better way of communicating for him his feelings. And you might say, so? Well, this can help us determine what he's thinking and feeling at a given point in time, because he is an introvert, and you know he wasn't that type of guy to really be like,
family by the batteries.
You know, maybe in private we don't know, but so anyhow, let's look at the post-murder internet searches he did.
Yeah, we don't even look at his searches.
So he's a big Metallica fan. He even has a big tattoo on his back, so that's, you know, something to point out. And according to Discovery Records, on that morning where he had, after the murders and after he did disposing of the bodies, he looked up the lyrics to a Metallica song called Battery, which has the line, "Cannot kill the family." And there's a lot of people focus on that one line, but there's more to it that I want to get into. So what is the Metallica song Battery all about? Well, let's look at the song meaning, the full lyrics, and do a quick analysis. So the song meaning, according to Wikipedia, means the lyrics discuss control of anger over one's behavior. But however, the theme of the song is based around the San Francisco thrash scene in the 80s. And the most prominent club was played by Metallica was on Old Waldorf at 444 Battery Street in downtown San Francisco. So the lyric, "Cannot kill the family, battery is found in me," is a statement that society does not understand the scene, and that those within it, the family, will defend it and show of solidarity against the glam metal scene, which was popular in Los Angeles area. The tone of the song is a familiar ties and positive release of energy through interest in metal. So I don't know if Chris knew that or not, but I don't think that's what he was really looking up for. I think it was more focused on the lyrics to discuss control of anger of one's behavior. I think it was more on that than the other.
That's what I'm thinking. Was he like ever diagnosed, or went to a psychiatrist? They had their input on this, because
that's really good. I really don't know. I don't think I'd had anyone discuss his background. They might have through some of the series or some of the records, but. That's a great question. I do not know, but that would be interesting to know that. So let's look at the lyrics now. Lashing out action. Let me be more specific. Lashing out the action, returning the reaction. I mean, who knows? I don't know if he really looked over these lyrics more closely, or he analyzed it, or he really meant most of these, but that could be something that Shanann, maybe when she got home that night, she might have addressed some of the issues and he might have just lashed out. That could be dealing with that. Weak are ripped and torn away. Again, probably referring to his wife and family, his kids. Hypnotizing power, crushing all that cower. He was really, I think he was hypnotized with NK, his mistress. He was really infatuated there. Battery is here to stay. Smashing through the boundaries, lunacy has found me. Cannot stop the battery. Pounding out aggression turns into obsession. Cannot kill the battery.
He was obsessed with NK.
Again, I think his slipping from, his sane and doing, the unthinkable. Cannot kill the family. Batteries found in me. And then some other lyrics, crushing all deceivers, mashing non-believers, never-ending potency. And then again, highlighted here, hunger, violence, seeker, feeding off the weaker, breeding on insanity, kind of repeating, some of the thoughts I have in the previous set of lyrics, taking out his family and, and turning into his insanity and feeling like he's hypnotized.
I mean,
maybe these are some of the lyrics he was,
looking at
relating to. We don't know, but there's some other, besides just that one I mentioned before that most people talk about, cannot kill the family. There's other things here he might have related to. And the last set of lyrics, circle of destruction, hammer comes crushing, powerhouse of energy, whipping up a fury, dominating flurry, we create the battery. Again, it could be some more things he's thinking about. So conclusion. Well, so that battery, let's talk about what the legal definition of battery is. It's an unlawful application of force directly or indirectly upon another person or their personal belongings causing bodily injury or offensive contact. So that's good to know what battery is, because some people may not know what that means from a legal perspective.
That was good you did that.
So all of the songs Chris could have looked for after murdering his family, Chirac, well, being sorry about doing it, or I need forgiveness, or I feel bad about it, I feel regret. No. Of all the songs he could have done, even Metallica songs, they're not all really aggressive Metallica songs. There's other Metallica songs that talk about other nice things as well. So it's, even if he was a Metallica fan, there's other things. No, he has to Google battery. So that just tells you where his mind's at.
Exactly. That's why I think a psychiatrist probably played a significant role, just to see.
It could have.
If he was diagnosed with anything, could have helped.
Yeah.
As well.
And that's a great insight. I don't know. Maybe that's
and stuff.
Maybe somebody hopefully out there could do a follow-up podcast on some of that stuff. But that just proves, like, if he expresses lyrics and music, and this is an outlet for him, and this is what he Googled, this is why are people feeling bad about him? This is ridiculous. So his beautiful family, he just destroyed, which is really, it's beyond words. So now we're going to get into the real interesting part. If you're just getting to know this case, but especially if you've been following this case, you're going to want to hang in there to the end, folks. Let me tell you, this is going to get really interesting. So my analysis on this case. Now, a lot of their podcasts, a lot of people are focusing on these theories, endless theories, what ifs, all the stuff, exaggerations.
Pretty much narrowed it down.
Many focus on small pieces of the puzzle, right? Very small things. Everybody's looking for a smoking gun, and I get that. But some of these small pieces are really pulling at small threads. I mean, it's really out there. I would say be very careful. Now, I have this funny slide.
This is cute.
It's cute, right? I mean, I'm trying to, and the reason why I did this slide is not to make fun of things. It's just that we have to be very careful not to have such wild theories and talk about really crazy things and turn this into other people saying, oh, like, I don't want to devaluate what's going on in this case. I want to do things more logically. Let's avoid, not going too crazy. But we do need to look at all these little things. And I do give credit to a lot of podcasts that do pick out these little things. I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm just putting a warning out there. Be careful what you cover and make sure it's, something logical. And that's what I want to try to do. Focus on what we do know, the facts, the logic, the problem solving.
That's why I don't look at these.
Look at all those pieces and look for the missing piece and try to fill it in. So let's look at the timeline, Chris Watts' timeline, August 10th to 12th. So the murder happened on the 13th, early morning, like just after midnight on the 12th. So that Friday, Chris was out Friday, and he was with Troy McCoy, and he finds out that Survey 13319, has a leak. And he told Troy at that time on Friday that he would go first thing Monday. So note that he already knew he was going to go there on Monday morning. So on Sunday, Chris texted and called his other coworker, Cody Roberts, at 5 p.m. So he called and texted. He wanted to make sure that he knew that he was going to Survey 319 the next day. And NK, I don't have documentation on this, but she reported that Chris told her He was also going to survey 319 next day as well. And Chris and NK talked that night for 111 minutes,
which they can't
till approximately 11:26 p.m. at night,
complete crap.
which is very unusual based on their calling pattern. And that was just like literally a few hours before when the murders allegedly took place. So now we're going to get into real interesting stuff, the meat of it. Let's look minute by minute, the morning of August 13th, which is after the murders. This is where Chris leaves his house at 5:48 a.m. and arrives at Survey 319.
This is awesome.
At 6:53 a.m. according to his GPS. I want to show a visual, and the next slide is going to even be more like, wow, that's the big one. This one just shows minute by minute. Now, we're not sure if I think there's some podcasts that tell me he might have stopped here, or maybe if his girls were still alive, maybe he pulled over and did something. I don't know all the details, but the bottom line, we know that he got from point A to point B. That's the real purpose of this slide. Okay, now get ready. The next one is from 6:54 a.m. when he got there and got settled to 8 a.m., which is when his first coworkers arrived. And I'm going to go through this step by step, but I just want to let you know the orange color, those minutes are where we don't know what Chris is doing. He doesn't have activity. So we have really no clue he's doing. In blue is what we know Chris is doing to some degree, like he's texting, he's calling, he's, there's some kind of activity from a technology perspective where we can pinpoint some action. And obviously he's doing that. So he's probably not doing other things, meaning the disposing part of that morning. So at 9, sorry. It's my mind is going today. Sorry, guys. At 6:59 a.m., Watts responds, okay, copy, to Cody's text. I guess I'm heading out that way to start up 10:29, and Chad will be meeting out there. So Cody was going to head out to 10:29, another survey site, and he was just letting Chris know. So there was a little exchange there at 6:59. Then there was 18 minutes of we don't know what happened. Then there's a little interruption. Watts takes a picture of his laptop screen, presumably sitting in his truck. I don't know why they say presumably sitting in his truck. I don't know how they know that. I didn't see the picture, but they must know. So that's at 7.
Somebody did say that they had but some type of scale in the truck to see like weight of passengers, which hasn't been 100% like stated if it's 100% certainty, but I'm guessing that's why they say presumably.
7:18 a.m. Then there's 20 minutes of we don't know, but then at 7:40, Watts sent a stage message to Shannon. If you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they are at, and Watts made a 2-minute call to Troy at 7:40 as well. So that takes up those few minutes.
He probably wrote this after he had taken care of the girls and taken care of Shannon and these 2 windows, because he could have done this during the time of him doing said business.
But I have a question there.
Yeah.
He texted his wife.
It's staged.
Okay.
So stage means
pretended.
He obviously knew his wife wasn't going to see the text. He did it to make it sound like he was concerned. So when the police read the records later, it seemed like he didn't know anything about it.
Exactly. Okay.
No, good question. Any questions is good because people listening to this might have the same ones.
That's true.
Excuse me. At 7:43 a.m., Watts texts Cody, yeah, I'm at 319, 1 sec, then takes a picture of the leak. Cody texts Watts, 10:04, how's it look?
Watts, he sent that leak to Nicole as well.
Watts replied, fresh, LOL. And then Watts made a 2-minute call to co-worker Luke. Okay? Takes care of that block. The following block at 7:47 a.m., Chad makes a 2-minute call to Watts. Now, Chad and Melissa, I'll get to in a second who they are, but they're on their way there to see Survey 319. So I'm sure Chad is saying, asking some similar questions, what do you see? And telling Chris that he's on his way there or be there any minute. Mm-hmm. Cody asks, is it a lot at 7:51? Watts responds by sending a pic of the leak. Okay.
Which it wasn't a lot.
And then at 7:55, Cody asks, "Want me to bring some gator? We can try and pressure test the line too if you want." Watts replies, "I got it handled. Thanks, though." And then these, let me point out now too, and I'll point out later, the 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and 4 minutes, there really isn't much really there that could have been done, really. I mean, it's such a short period of time, and it could be,
That's
texting or
that we're looking at right there.
who knows, finishing up the call. These are too short of windows to really be of much substance.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 8 a.m., Chad McNeil, field coordinator, and Melissa Parrish, operator, arrive at Survey 319. Now, note that Chad says 8 a.m., Melissa says 8:25. They're both guesstimating, but based on some of the other documentation, it really puts it more at 8 a.m. And I can't remember if it was for the GPS or what have you, but most likely it was 8 a.m. That's what most of the documentation I can find says. Now,
and this is coming from DA Rurik telling us we are junior detectives. Look at what this man did. I thought about doing this exact thing. I was going to do it by 10-minute increments, but this man did it in a minute intervals. This man went above and beyond. He's not being paid for this because he knows that this is wrong. So yet he's showing us the breakdown. And you're telling me in 38 minutes this man did all this by himself? I call bullcrap.
Even if it was 8:25, Chad has already talked to Chris. So Chris knows that he's on his way. So he's really not going to, let's just say for argument's sake, it was 8:25. He's really not going to get much done in those 15 or 20 minutes because he knows it can arrive at any time. Also, he was in the middle of doing a lot of things on his phone. I don't think that's a substantial amount of time. And most likely it is 8 a.m. Everything points to that. And Troy arrived around 8:30, 8:40, and he already knew that Melissa and Chad had been there for some time. So I'm just pointing that out in case people ask questions. So out of 67 minutes, he has been was there before anyone showed up. So from 6:54 to 8 a.m., 67 minutes. Chris only had 38 minutes. And that's very conservative because, as you know, that doesn't count for like thinking of what he's going to do, trying to plan things out, cleaning himself, any of these other small things. So that's a very conservative estimate to do whatever he needed to do to dispose of his family. The other minutes noted are too small, as I mentioned before, to 3 minutes, 4 minutes. There's not really that much you can do.
Well, you
took
can
97
multitask
minutes.
too, right? So
you can multitask, but however, you can't really dig and text at the same time. I guess you could use Siri, but it still takes time. You got to verify things. You can multitask to a certain degree, but not. I don't want to get too detailed because of just I don't want to talk about the gruesome parts of things. But there's some things you can't really multitask, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
But that's a good question. There are some things like maybe during the 7:40 to 7:59, but he was taking pictures. He was responding. It's very unlikely that that would be really useful time. And this is all going to be wrapped up too, to kind of talk about where he was and what he was doing. So 38 minutes, on the Discovery Report, Chris said it took 20 to 30 minutes to dig that 2-foot deep grave, which was 100 yards away from the tanks. That would then leave somewhere between 8 and 18 minutes for everything else, disposing of the family, any type of cleanup, and any other work he was doing, like taking pictures and photos and who knows whatever else he needed to do. And trying to, keep up on all the communications coming in. It's just a lot. So, 38 minutes to do all that. And then after just digging the grave, you only had like 18 minutes top, maybe as little as 8 minutes.
Man, there's no way.
So to try and get everything done with that time frame, Chris had to seem sweaty or exhausted because we can honestly say that no matter what, even if a few more minutes were used, if you want to argue that point,
and it was like 86 to 91 degrees that day.
Still have to be sweaty, exhausted, anxious, not looking or acting right or just not himself when people found him because he had to be rushing around to meet that time frame. That's not a lot of time. So what did the first people to see him at Survey 319 witness when they first seen Chris, you know?
Said he was fine.
Don't you think you would see some of this, one of these things, really? So let's see. What did Chad and Melissa and even Troy observe about Chris when they arrived at Survey 319? Chris appeared to be normal. He didn't seem personality-wise different. He joked around like he usually did. He didn't seem tired or anything different.
So this makes you believe, it makes you think that they had been disposed beforehand, or Shanann was disposed, or the hole was dug before. We know the girls were there that morning because you could see a little shadow underneath the truck. But it opens up a whole nother Pandora's box. When did Shanann go out the back door, or the back basement, or the back area because the camera was removed? Like, there's so many ifs, ands, or buts that could be looked into and are not.
Chad and Chris said Chad said that Chris said it was hot outside, which seemed odd, but Melissa said he didn't complain about the heat, that was an issue. He had old boots, tucked in pants, old shirt, which seemed a bit odd, but there was nothing on, as far as the record says, there was nothing on his clothes to indicate anything odd, anything different, meaning like blood stains or anything like this, or anything weird. His truck was parked in an odd spot, though. And when they got there, he only had a 1 foot wide, 6 to 8 inch deep hole dug for the work he needed to do. Because he needed to dig, I guess, near the leak area or something. So to me, that's nothing, right? He could have saw them pulling up the road. He took a shovel out. Yeah. You know, the shovel itself is probably more than, 8 inches, deep. He probably just did one little shovel and started like he was doing work. Exactly. I have no clue.
1 foot is nothing.
It's nothing. 1 foot wide, 6 inches deep. Odd that he went straight to the field instead of the office. Melissa mentioned this. She's like, well, that's kind of odd. Usually you'd go to the office first, and going out to the field was a little odd. So how was Chris able to do all this in those 67 minutes? Monitor and keep communication with his coworkers throughout all that time, get everything he needed done, covering up what he did to the family, etc. And they were interrupted minutes. I mean, I know he only took that one picture of his laptop, but it was still interrupted. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're going, guys. Let's say he took it in his truck. If he's shoveling, and have to run in his truck and take a picture, that's still time. That's still seconds and minutes off the clock.
Yes.
So dig the hole, dispose, make changes to his clothes, etc. While he appeared normal. This is the most important part. People showed up.
So I've actually thought about going out to a sand pit. We got sand pits out here. I shouldn't do it right now because it's winter. But I was going to time myself to digging a 2 foot deep hole the size of a human being in the 20 to 30 minutes that he states and see what it looks like. So I guarantee there's no way in 20 to 30 minutes for a 2 foot hole. There's no way, man. There's no way. I've dug quite a bit of many holes in my day for like construction and helping my dad out with his house and so forth. And we dug holes for the lines and so forth. And I'm telling you, and not showing any exhaustion or sweat or in 86 to 91 degree weather. I'm calling bull crap.
He appeared to act normal, not stressing, not looking sweaty. There was nothing that the coworkers, other than his clothes. He had older clothes on, but that's not his like personality. Because if you're following this case, you know that when the cops came over his house later in the afternoon, and they were watching the surveillance video that they have at the house, like showing like who came in and out of the driveway and stuff, he was freaking out. It was obvious in many, many different ways. He was freaking out. So he just did this awful thing. I would think he would show some sign. So that's really weird.
He thought he got away.
So it doesn't make sense or be possible unless one or more things had to happen or take place. Now, he could have had help from someone else, either someone or others, meaning plural. Another possibility, site was prepped ahead of time.
I think that too.
Or he had things very planned and thought out, meaning he had in his mind step 1 to step 10.
He was not smart enough.
I think that's hard when you don't know necessarily the curveballs, and I don't know. I find that very hard that Chris put this master plan together, executed it perfectly without suspicion, and just got really lucky. Doesn't
He
seem to
had
match
a
the evidence,
mastermind.
but I think one or more of these things had to take place. So one last thought. If we go the average time of 25 minutes for him to dig the grave, because he said it took 20 to 30 minutes, that leaves 13 minutes, interrupted minutes for Chris to do everything else. Does that really seem logical?
No.
Wouldn't have much time to even think. I mean, unless he had this, like I said, extreme plan out, how can he get there? You're probably thinking, where am I going to pick the site to dig? 100 yards out. That's pretty far. Like, how did you arrive at that exact spot? Why couldn't it be 10 feet, 20 feet, 200 yards, 500 yards, or over to the left or over to the right? I don't know. There's just a lot has to go into this. And there's a lot of things that would have to be put in place to match everything. It doesn't to me make logical sense.
All right, now we're going to talk about NK. Here we go.
So Tuesday, August 14th, this is the day after the murders. Excuse me.
Which we've already talked
through
about
interviews,
all this. So we've already kind of known this too. I'm not trying to skip out what he's saying, but she literally Googled, can cops trace the evidence? She was concerned why they wanted to know this, which was not in the contents. Per her interview with the authorities, she could also told Chris that night to delete all his text. Why? She was freaking out that night also, which she bluntly stated. So all this 10 suspicious, like I've made this already. He's beat me to the punch already, because I was doing a overall breakdown, but I'm gonna still do it as well. But many lies, changing the stories to authorities, deleting evidence, asking others to delete their stuff. Chris, others, Charlotte, Jim, apparently suspicious Google searches, traces text, etc. The wedding dresses. Can FBI do this? Police do this? Her 111-minute phone call that the night of the murder needs proof of Chris at Survey 319. Why would you need proof? You're a geologist, part of Anadarko. That completely makes no sense. The morning phone ping near Chris's house. The only time it ever happened. I want to make that very clear. I looked at all of her stuff, including other channels. The one time it pinged in Frederick, Colorado was the morning of the murders. Somebody was like, well, it's because she was on her way to work. The one time she worked at Anadarko for almost 4 to 5 months. Not once did it ever ping in Frederick, Colorado until the morning of. Not clocking in that morning of work. Having her dad in the interview room. Going into hiding and not stating her innocence. Amen to that. I mean, even looking at this, he shows the data records again too. The Frederick, Colorado, 6:16. She could have been in the truck on the way to come help him or whatever have you. But then from 6:16 to 2:28, she's missing. She's gone. She's poof. Had no idea where she's at.
So could NK been at Survey 319?
Yes.
And the answer is, oh, yes. So at 6:16, you can see, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but that's right.
Man, he did a good job.
This little cell tower here where it says NK, you could see that was at 6:16, and that was near Chris's house, okay? Now, normally the route she would go to work, it wouldn't hit against that tower, but she was closer to the house, so it pinged there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the route usually takes 48 minutes to get there, and she was already on the road, so who knows? It might have took it a little bit quicker time, especially if you're speeding a little bit. But let's just say 48 minutes. So she arrives at 7:04 a.m., or could have, and this is allegedly. She could have made it to Survey 319 there, and then she would have had, and you can see it in red, 56 minutes before the coworkers showed up. Now, of course, she wouldn't stay to the very end. I mean, at 7:47 a.m., when he was talking to Chad, Chris could have told NK, if she was there, allegedly, hey, they're going to be here soon, leave. And, she could have just been there just to dig the hole for 20 minutes, 30 minutes and been
I
out. I
honestly think that she was the one taking care of the girls while Chris was taking care of the hole and Shanann. And then and then he had a towel and wiped himself off, whatever have you. But that's why I think, to be honest.
There, plenty of time. I mean, she could have just been there for moral support, making sure that, he had everything taken care of. Who knows? But for her not to clock in and only clock out at 3 p.m., again, very suspicious.
Very.
So the answer to the question, could it be physically or theoretically possible for her to get there and be there and get out? Yes, is the answer. Allegedly, this is all stuff. I'm going to be very careful what I say.
Allegedly, yeah.
It's
So NK's involvement conclusion, very strong I can't even pronounce it. Circumstantial, holy cow, evidence that she could have been at there. We don't have evidence because they didn't do any of this stuff. Like there's footprints out by the grave that they dug. Extra footprints. They didn't thumbprint or fingerprint the tops of the doors and stuff like that for the batteries. Like, why? NK was concerned that the authorities would find out where she was per her phone and tech records and GPS. Chris seemed to be too calm and relaxed about everything that he did. She was already in the area and had plenty of time to get to the Cervi 319 that morning. She spent plenty of time to help Chris. Never clocked into work, so no record of where she was at. She might have known where Chris was going to do that, as she probably used take a picture to show me that you're at Cervi 319, as to put her out of the location, which is completely poppycock.
That was a long one, Struck. I feel bad, Struck.
It's very interesting too. It's mind blowing, all this evidence that you actually captured.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I did a lot of hours worth of work putting together the slides and some of the data listing the different things. But there's
so it's pretty much showing that junior detective that he's doing a heck of a lot more work than somebody that's being paid in the DA's office.
So much out there, and I just wanted to do this because I feel like justice hasn't been done completely. A lot of us out there think NK was more involved. I think that's obvious. She already, to me, broke laws by deleting evidence and telling the person who murdered the family to delete evidence. I think that's I forgot what it's called. I can't think tonight. But helping the murderer cover things up.
Accessory to murder.
I don't get it. So anyhow, folks, that was a little bit of a bummer, but hopefully we are going to continue this and hoping that they reopen the case and that everything comes out finally. It may take years. And I know this is a little off topic from the music, a little bit. We did that first part related to music, but I felt like I needed to take this further because I really, this case really boggles me and it bothers me a little bit. So.
Yeah, it was definitely different. It was connected to music because Chris was into music, so I think he did a good job.
I appreciate it. I tried, and I'm hoping others can take what I have here and use it and help with further their investigation. But our next show will be a good one. We're going to talk about concerts for 2024 and different things and concert tips. So it's going to be a much more lighter topic.
Yeah. So go over there to their channel, give them some love, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Let's try to get them to that 1,000 goal because we always want to help out other channels as well. Comment your guys' thoughts down below. Even this puts it into perspective. Very detailed, minute by minute, orientated detail that he literally only had 38 minutes to do all this. There is no way this man did this by himself. NK was there. You can't change my mind. And hopefully one day, fingers crossed, we will see this case reopened and changed in a different aspect of Nicole Kessinger's involvement and her conviction. So, again, I thank you guys for watching. Please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we will see you guys next time.